I think the biggest impediment is when we are out of alignment between our head and our heart, meaning our beliefs, our thoughts, and our emotions. And, neuroscience is sharing a lot about the cognitive functions of the heart right now. And then a lot of the energy traditions of the world, like the Eastern energy traditions, like talk about the sacral, right? Which is, it's not even your heart. It's your gut. So the combination of your mind and your heart, and honestly, they're all connected, right? Like when the hairs on the back of your arms or your head stand up, like it's all connected. It's identity crisis is what it is. And when I do deep work with individuals as a coach, it's how do we discover what your real identity is, whether you believe that came from God or your universal DNA. Like we are never who we think we are until we're safely dead, I guess. And then we really know. But we have so much conditioning, and it's so deeply rooted in our unconscious mind. And when people are self-sabotaging, or they're struggling and they don't know why, it's usually because of these deeply rooted unconscious decisions that they made about who they are or how they're supposed to show up in this world, and they didn't consciously choose them, so it doesn't make sense. And once we can identify, like, where did that come from, and why did your unconscious mind believe that that was necessary for you to get what you felt like you needed at the time, then we now have permission to turn that channel off. Like, you don't have to do that anymore. We can literally just use some simple tools and neuroscience, and we can turn that off, and you can go create some new neural pathways to wire and fire together, so you can believe some things and get some chemicals and hormones flowing in you that you haven't had in a long time. And then you're going to start doing things that you've never done before and stop doing the things you don't want to do anymore. That's the deep work that I start nerding out on a day-to-day basis with those I get to help.
Do you think that process is more like a staircase where everyone starts at this level, and then we got to do the prerequisites before we get to the intermediate, and then we get to the advanced level classes, and then it's sort of like that? Or is it more like a forest where there's so many routes that you can get through a forest that whether it's between this tree or this tree or this path or that path, or and so it's kind of, that is more like a, there's no one size fits all sort of method. How do you see that transformation, journey?
Yeah, I love the forest analogy for sure. And I have a path that I know that I can take people down, and if they veer, it's okay. But like I've got a couple paths that I can see pretty clearly that seem to get people out, through on the other side. Um, and it's okay because we're all at a different place in that journey through that forest. And when we allow people to be where they're at and say, I'm right over here when you're ready, it's a good path. And so, yeah, I think that's a great analogy for sure. Yeah, the commonality between whether someone thinks they're at the top of the mountain and they realize they're not, or someone who is at the lowest lows of the valleys, or man, woman, right? Because I coach both. Like the commonality in I've coached full time now for 10 years. I've worked with 800 individuals. The commonality that I see between every single one of them comes back to identity. It's this idea that I think or thought I was blank, and I realize that I'm blank. I'm not, or I am. Like I thought I was a good father, and I'm not. I thought I was, and then all of that comes back to worth, value, and it's not. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the phrase "not good enough," "not smart enough," not just that enoughness, like your worth, your value. And the reason is because 95 to 99% of your mental programming happened from the ages of 0 to 7 when you were in high theta brainwave patterns, which is the same as dream sleep and hypnosis. And your unconscious mind was holding on to stuff from a place of survival, not a place of thriving and contributing and creating. And so here we are going through our teenage years and young adult years, and we're doing adult things with childlike programming, and we wonder why we keep showing up like doing stupid kid stuff. Or you get an argument, you're like, you're acting so childish. It's like, yeah, we both are. And to bring conscious awareness to unconscious decisions that were made, and having the power to recreate those, and watching everything in your DNA. Like literally, your cells change because of this concept called epigenetics, which is that we actually control our DNA and our cells rather than them controlling us. Once you realize that you have that power and you get to create that identity, and you don't have to have any of those voices, as you said, right, from your family judging others or yourself, then you're truly 100% free. You're free. Create whatever you want.